Oh, so here we are this morning, having started so well with Flint last night. He gave such a beautiful introduction for our time together these next 2.5 days. And Flint asked both myself and Josh in the UK to give Dharma talks this morning on entrustment or anything that we saw connected to the warm hand to warm hand transmission that this our weekend is leading to. So as I begin my offering this morning, I first acknowledge Flint, our teacher, and all of our teachers, my teachers. I bow to the ancestors, to Blanche Hartman, to Joko Beck, to Suzuki Roshi, just to name a few. I also acknowledge that I am standing and living on the rich ancestral land of the Ho-Chunk people. We practice in such a rich tradition, one deep and wide with ancestors and encouragement. So many wonderful teachers instructing in practice, in spiritual health, everyday living and action. I've been living in some questions about entrustment for a while now. What does it mean to be entrusted with something precious? Specifically, how do I accept this mantle of entrusted teacher in the Appamada Soto Zen tradition? How do I give myself to practice, to Sangha, to life in this function? I've realized that I don't know exactly how to do it, and it can be done. Of course, there is a good deal of help and guidance. There is a description from the program for the first Appamada teacher in entrustment last winter that serves both as a marker and as an aspiration for me. I want to read it to you for you to get a picture or the context here. It reads, each entrusted Dharma teacher has established a daily Zazen practice, received the 16 Bodhisattva precepts, served as head student, given rise to bodhicitta, the awakened heart, embodied the bodhisattva vows, conveyed to others the teaching and practice of the wisdom and compassion of the Buddha, and having, above all, through their presence in the world and daily activities as the fundamental teaching mode, demonstrated a mature understanding of the practice and opened the practice for others, and in the process fostered our caring and warm community. This last piece is especially an aspiration for me. With this picture, I want to offer and acknowledge three views of entrustment: the healthy psychological everyday aspects, entrustment as a spiritual path, and lineage entrustment in our tradition. From the everyday activities and routine perspective, we're handed our personal life to care for in body, mind, and heart. As relational beings, we attend to others, and doing this from an entrusted perspective, we need to give careful and full consideration for how we love, accept, support, and encourage others in our lives. So, our everyday life can be seen through the lens of being entrusted with self, others, home, work, and many other things. We're entrusted with what we ask for, with what we want for ourselves. But we are also entrusted with what we don't ask for: illness, job loss, death of a loved one, and so much more. Our small self doesn't want to see things through the entrusted lens. And yet, it is what we don't expect, wouldn't choose for ourselves, and want to push away that provides us with practice opportunities. Flint has often encouraged us to approach our sitting practice as support to face our life off the cushion, not from a gaining perspective, but as an offering to life as it is. When we can see all of our life experience as something with which we are entrusted, it becomes an antidote to any sense of victimhood we might hold. How can I say this? What if we approached everything we don't want, didn't invite, are deeply challenged by, in the spirit of entrustment? I find that it opens up new questions as guidance. Questions such as, how do I bring an whole, open heart to this experience? What do I most need to attend to in facing this difficulty, this illness, loss, struggle, this deep hurt? What do I have to offer here so that the best outcome can arise? When we bring our relative experience together with the absolute truth of life as the Buddha came to and revealed, we make the shift to entrustment as a spiritual practice. The cultural anthropologist Angelis Arian identified 4 spiritual wisdom teachings across cultures. These are probably familiar to you, but I think they're worth looking at again, considering. They are show up, pay attention, tell the truth, and let go of the outcome. When we show up to life fully and wholeheartedly, we walk the path of awareness with love. Paying attention is necessary to be fully present to what is arising. Telling the truth maintains and sustains our integrity and our connection to our life and to others. Letting go of the outcome relaxes any gaining idea and frees us from small self preoccupation and unnecessary suffering. These are all consistent with our practice guidance on and off the cushion. In each moment of practice, in this way, we honor our ancestors and bring forth their light and teachings as Flint spoke of last night in describing practice. Begin with conviction, stay with it as fully as possible, and end with vitality. This describes any activity or experience, of course, and hopefully it'll also describe our life. When we receive anything in our lives in the spirit of being entrusted with something precious, it will make all the difference in living a life of harmony, freedom, and love. Of course, not without difficulties. However, it gives rise to joyful energy, one of the 6 paramitas of practice. I'm finding that same joyful energy arises in me as the teacher entrustment ceremony approaches. The lens of entrustment is with me always now. I read and meet anything with an eye on what is being entrusted, offered, bestowed. How is entrustment being acted? I sometimes ask. Not necessarily with an easy spirit, but I always want to be leaning in that direction. How can being entrusted with something precious such as the Dharma be free of self-preoccupation? What is the most appropriate response? That piece about self-preoccupation refers back to, I don't know exactly how to do this, and it can be done. I would suggest that whenever we're faced with not knowing exactly how to do something, we're handing it over, we're giving it away, we're taking it from our small self and into the larger experience of life. In a previous Dharma talk about teacher entrustment, I said, I can feel the pull forward as we move toward the teacher entrustment transmission, warm hand to warm hand. I understand that lay teacher entrustment is it was last century, a recent ceremony and practice created and instituted by Western Zen priests and Dharma teachers that designate committed senior students as teachers. Ultimately, it's a relational practice and ceremony. Warm hand to warm hand, warm heart to warm heart. It's literally how the Dharma, the Buddha's, and our ancestors' teachings have been passed forward down through time. Flint described this so well last evening. If you weren't able to hear his opening, the link for it has been up and sent, and I encourage you to listen to it today. He described asking a question of his teacher Blanche when he saw an image on the wall of the San Francisco Zen Center that showed conviction, staying with it, and going on to the end with vitality. He later commented to one of the students who asked the question, one of the people who asked the question, I think it was you, Kim, that as he was speaking about that, he was quaking. The experience was still with him. I think this is the joyful energy that arises when we're met warm hand to warm hand. It's always an appropriate response to such a gift. I'm being offered it. I accept it. I acknowledge and deeply appreciate it, having arisen from our Sangha, from our practice together. I commit to my practice of seeing everyone as a Buddha and to try to help where I can, as I have received so much care and help from all of you. I fail with this so many times, and I humbly ask your help going forward. I'll pause here with gratefulness, and as one of our friends on the island of Molokai says, with gratefulness for our being together here, for what is before us today. I'm going to suggest to you that as you meet your day, that's part of the structure of integrative intensive is that we practice in the morning, we go about our day, and then we come together in the evening. As you go about your day, see if you can hold the idea or the thought, the question, what am I being entrusted with here? Even if it's something that you didn't invite or you would prefer isn't there. See if that question, what am I being entrusted here today, can come forward, and then pay attention to what arises. If you would like to join us for walking meditation at Mickey Joe's farm, if you're here in Madison, we're going to begin that at 1 a.m. 1 a.m. Oh my goodness. At 10 a.m. Please arrive by 9:45 so we can get organized and be ready to start. If you can't walk there, but you would like to come, Mickey Joe is going to have a fire, and you can sit until we return from our walk. For those of you who aren't here, I highly encourage that you take a period of conscious movement or walking meditation for yourself today. If it's safe for you to meet with somebody and that seems like the right thing to do, go ahead and do that. And then we'll all meet back here again this evening, 5:30 Central Time, whatever time that is for you. So I'm going to stop here, and if you want to stay online, I see that we have a few extra minutes. If you want to stay online after our designated stop time, then we'll stay online for half an hour for any comments or questions and answers. But I'm going to stop here with the bell, and then we'll do our chants. We'll chant the practice principles and the Bodhisattva vow. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment, compassion's way. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment, compassion's way. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment, compassion's way. The Bodhisattva vow. Beings are numberless, I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible, I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless, I vow to enter them. Buddha's way is unsurpassable, I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless, we vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible, we vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless, we vow to enter them. Buddha's way is unsurpassable, we vow to embody it. Beings are numberless, this vow frees them all. Delusions are inexhaustible, this vow ends them all. Dharma gates are boundless, this vow enters them all. Buddha's way is unsurpassable, this vow embodies it. Having made this offering of movement, silent morning practice, and talking about entrustment, we offer compassionate care. And go ahead and say quietly to yourself who you want to offer care to today. And to all those who are gravely ill, lacking basic necessities, and suffering violence in the world in thought, word, or deed. May they be serene and freed from all unnecessary suffering, and may we all together realize the awakened way. May our intentions permeate all being and place with the true merit of the Buddha's way. All right, everyone, if you need to leave now, have a wonderful day. We'll meet back here at 5:30 Central Time with Flint, and he'll be doing the evening Dharma talk. And if you want to stay online for in the next 30 minutes or so, feel free to do that, and for comment and or questions. We'll wait a little bit while people can get offline. Eileen, can you hear me?
Yes, if people would like to ask a question, they should raise their hands. And their ability to raise their hands is located at the bottom of the participants list.
Good morning, Kim.
Good morning.
Thank you for the question you asked Flint last night and asking him to expand on what he said about his connection with Blanche and asking her that question.
Oh, I'm promoted.
Yes.
There you are. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, good morning. Yeah, I found, well, I could feel his quaking, you know, and you know me well enough to know I'm pretty emotive and just feeling the energy of and the dedication, you know, of people's practice through the ages. It was just found it so moving. And I don't know about you, but my experience of, you know, like choosing to raise my hand, you know, it's like, ooh, you know, like, am I going to go on camera and do this? And then I did it, and then you wait, and then all these other people ask your questions in different ways. And then my question completely changed by the time he came forward. Or at least my understanding of it changed, I guess. But yeah, I'm so thankful. So thankful. And I'm so thankful, Suzanne, that you're willing to do this too. Yeah. In your talk, I was really moved thinking about, you know, entrustment in a certain way is honoring the sacredness of what we've been offered. And, you know, just like yesterday evening, I'm thinking, oh, intimacy is love. Oh, entrustment is like, you know, accepting, you know, taking in and, you know, honoring and cherishing. And then you said and then we're entrusted with the hardships. And it was like, just to have that enter my body and remember it's the wholeness, and that there's beauty in that too. You know, it's like coming to the same place as last night, like, oh, the intimacy of the angry Buddha, of the hiding Buddha, of the, is also part of held in, you know, and that ultimately is love too. So the hardships of one's life, to feel the intimacy, to feel that care. So thank you so much, Suzanne. I'm so glad
you're very welcome, Kim. I suspect what you said about how what we're handed, I suspect our ancestors all started somewhere. And you know, you said you thought you had a question, and then you heard other people's questions, and it was all, you know, we all start somewhere, and then, oh, everything arises, and it changes as we go on, and it's more pure, and not from a personal perspective, but it just opens up bigger and bigger and bigger.
Mm-hmm. I think it's why we can chant the same vow. It's because ultimately we land in that place together, where we realize we're, you know, we remember, we find ourselves together. So yeah.
Thank you, Kim. Darcy asked if we could post the question that I posed for people in the chat room, which I will do, but I'll just repeat it here, that if, as you go through your day, hold the question in your heart and your mind is, what am I being entrusted with? Especially for those things that seem unwanted or are just not our preference at all, which, you know, is showing up a lot in our lives right now in so many big ways. What am I being entrusted with is what I was asking about or encouraging. Good morning, Sue.
Good morning, Suzanne. Um, Thank you very much for your teaching. Um, it's wonderful that you are willing to take this on, and we all want to support you, certainly. Um, as you spoke this morning, I just kept having these little flashes that came, and it was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, I think I might get that. Oh, and I'm just kind of popping along. And then as I sat here, I was going back and I thought, what was it that popped for you? And I thought, I don't know. It's all just kind of swirling up there. But I felt like I was really kind of being handed something, but I don't know what the heck I was handed. I'm just feeling like shaking my head saying, well, should I really say this or not say this? But I just felt kind of moved to say it's all kind of swirling in there. And yet, both your, as you were first talking, of course, all the good things came to mind. And then you reminded us that we are being handed a lot of things that we don't choose. And that really landed deeply. And so I just am going to keep that in me and work with it. But thank you for that.
You're welcome, Sue. And that popping, the way I experience it is something is showing itself and I don't have words for it.
I don't. I mean, I can't tell you,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
but I felt really so uplifted, and then I felt kind of like, ooh, and then again, I mean, it was
Uh-huh.
maybe it was some of Kim's emotionality. Ooh, it's coming
Well,
too.
well, as Flint said last night, we have to put things into words, and then there's the wordless.
Yeah.
In order for that, I mean, what is being imparted to us or given to us is beyond words, and yet we have to ask words. We have to use words.
Mhm.
Thank you for being willing to show that, Sue.
Telling you the wordless.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Suzanne.
You're welcome. Mhm. Mhm. Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning, Suzanne. Thank you so much for your teaching.
Welcome.
As you were presenting your question, what are we entrusted with? I was looking, and then Sue was talking about the swirling and the popping. I was looking over your shoulder and seeing the swirls and the elephants in the room. And I was thinking that's really what practice is it challenges us to look at all the elephants in our room. And so I thank you very much for the image and for the teaching.
You're very welcome. This elephant has represented so many things here in our lives, my life, our home. Yes, so many things. Way beyond what we thought when we were attracted to it in the gallery that where we bought it from. Isn't that how it goes?
It's just lovely. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Mhm. Good afternoon, Josh.
Hi,
There you are, Josh and Trudy. Oh, so good. And then who are you holding?
this is Jasper.
Jasper. Hello,
Yes.
Jasper.
I like being entrusted with Jasper.
I can appreciate that.
I found your talk really helpful about some of the things that currently I'm struggling more to be entrusted with.
Mm-hmm.
And so the prompt that you've left us for the day is very supportive and helpful. So thank you. Thank you for that.
Jasper doesn't know about that one so much. Wants to get out of there.
He's pretty content, and I just really wanted to say hi from England.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for joining us today. I know it is, what time there? You're 6 hours, right? You're at 2 o'clock?
About 2:10 here.
2:10, great. Mm-hmm.
But also to thank you for last night, because I could see it was such a complicated practice to prepare that hall, that big vast hall, and the sound and the technology, and how you all kept really focused, and we got there in the end.
We did. We got there in the end. As I said last night, we learned a lot last spring, and we've continued the learning curve. So I'm so appreciative to our group here, to everybody who's been involved in preparing this. Mm-hmm.
That was very, very inspiring, because you have masks on. It was tricky.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. And people will be seeing that on Sunday. Where I'm going to be located for this ceremony, we'll be wearing masks, at least for part of it. So.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to sharing it with you in 2 days' time.
I do too, very much, Josh. Thank you.
More time.
Mm-hmm.
Without the cat.
I don't know. If he wants to join us, he can join us.
He might join us.
He might join us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Josh. Mm-hmm. Good morning, Erin.
Good morning, Suzanne. Thank you for the teaching. Also, I'm in the mudroom of all places, but I have my today's to-do list on one side and stuff for your talk on the other. And all of a sudden my to-do list has taken on a whole new angle that I'm really curious to see how the day goes, because the angle that it's taking is less about me and the others involved in my to-do list. And I feel that all of a sudden my to-do list doesn't look like these tasks to just check off, but that I'm being entrusted with other people's emotions, and I feel entrusted with having some responsibility in how my interactions with them go. This is just has popped up, and so the day is fresh, and I appreciate you posing the questions. So that really surprised me how something that I would normally just start to tackle has taken on a whole new shape. So we'll see. I'm excited. So thank you very much for posing the question. And to Josh, thank you for that accent. I have just a fondness for the English accent. So thank you for that.
You're welcome, Erin. And thank you for describing your experience, because it's like we're looking at something through a prism, and then when we turn it just a bit, we see it in another way, in another form. And the way you worded it, that you're being entrusted with other people's emotion and their experience and how to meet that, that's really beautiful. Thank you for that.
Well, one thing that one thing on my list, I was disappointed that something's not going to happen, so I have to kind of restructure things. And all of a sudden, your question poses it where all of a sudden I feel less victimhood and more thinking about the other person's position. And so that's really surprising me, but I'm excited and curious to see where that takes me throughout the day.
Oh, and maybe sometime during the weekend you can report back to us what experience that was.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Erin. Hello, Rosemarie.
Hello, good morning,
Good morning.
and thank you for your talk. First, I wanted to say I'm brand new to Zen, so this is my first intensive, and after
Okay.
last night, I understand why it's called an intensive. It was very, very intense for me.
Okay.
One of the things, and I think especially the inquiry about the robe, what was beneath the robe, and intimacy. And what I'm experiencing, I attend Flint's inquiries weekly. And what I experience in his connection with everyone that speaks with him is just this overwhelming caring. And well, it's overwhelming for me. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. At any rate, that was very special for me last night. But what I wanted to thank you for this morning was the movement part. I'm a former dancer, and my customary way with movement is telling my body what to do, not listening to it. This is what you have to do, and you can do it better. And so it's a completely different perspective, and it's very much appreciated. So I wanted to say that. And the other thing was your questions to yourself in the beginning. You know, what you had 3 or 4, but what does it mean to be entrusted with? And I just had a lot of respect for your courage at this stage to have those basic questions. And it gives me a lot of courage because I don't know anything. And so I'm trying to find my curiosity and have the, I guess, the courage to, feels a little exposed to ask really basic questions. But I have questions about everything. So.
Oh, good.
So thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, I really want to encourage your questions, Rosemarie. You know, the poet Rilke said if we ask the right question, our life will become the answer. And so, it might take us a bit to land on the question that we really are curious about. And this last year and a half as I've been preparing for entrustment, because it was supposed to happen last spring, both here and in England, and it didn't. So these questions have been coming forward. And I too was trained as a dancer. I was a dance minor in college. And there was that, do this, do that, my teacher, do this, do that. And then I trained in somatic psychology, which was about listening to the body as a very wise resource for us. So if we moved with listening, we might find out something, or we might encourage something. So thank you for your comments. As a dancer, former dancer, I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello. Who am I talking to?
This is Steve Cooley.
Oh, Steve. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened here, but I can see you anyway.
Okay. Okay. I see Mac user on. There you are. Oh, great.
Hey.
Yay. Good to
morning.
see you, Steve. Good morning.
Sorry, I didn't do my hair yet, but I'll do it later. One of the first retreats, when I went on retreat, I shaved my head and I nicked my ear and I was bleeding horribly. And remember, you had to. It was so funny; it would not stop bleeding. But anyway, my question, or first of all, I'd like to say thank you to everyone for all the hard work, and boy, you guys have got this down to a science, and it's so meaningful. But my question was to walking meditation. And, you know, when we're in the Zendo and following each other and walking down the hall and listening to the clackers, and that seems to be one formal way. But then when I get outside, it's like I'm taking everything in and looking at all we are and all, you know, that we see. Is there anything that goes through your mind in particular? Do you try to push out other thoughts, like if you're on the cushion and all of a sudden you're thinking about salmon for dinner? Do you know, I need to go back to this pine tree, you know what I mean? If you could just speak to that for a little bit, I don't know.
I will, Steve. My own practice primarily has been outside. And I know that that's going to end as the weather gets cold, although, you know, I'm going to do it as much as I can. I want to be attending to what's showing up in my walking meditation, not as a distraction, but as a recognition that this is life. This is it. Here it is right now. For example, the other morning I was walking down our street just as the sun was coming up, and it was flashing its light on the tops, only the tops of the trees, and it was startling. And I thought to myself, I have to pay attention to that. That's a miracle right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right there it is. So, and then I also walk in a loop of awareness, is what I call it. I'm aware in here, walking in my steps, paying attention there, and aware out there of what's showing up. And oftentimes what comes to mind is something I learned from Thich Nhat Hanh. When he goes walking, he pauses as he sees what is there. And he takes it in completely. And then he might move forward in a walk. So that's my offering on walking meditation.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, enjoy yours today, wherever that is. Yay.
Yes, I've got a couple of parks to choose from. I haven't decided yet, but it's a beautiful day here. It should be about 80 and sunny.
Great. So. Great. Yes.
All right. Thank you. Enjoy. Love all you guys.
Love you, Steve. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Good morning, Efrat.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Yes.
Good to see you, Suzanne. Well, true to form, I couldn't get in this morning. And I was so desperate. I was emailing, I was texting, and I sat with that like desperation. I was desperate. There was no way in the world I was going to miss this. And I have been preparing for this with you for so long. It sort of was this moment of what? Like yesterday, all the technology sort of obstacles that got in the way of the connection. And I had to sit there with the enormity of the connection And at the same time, with this way of connecting, it was an absolute obstacle. I couldn't deny it. There was no way I could sort of click my heels into the session and be there. And I missed movement, which I am so dedicated to and love. As people have noted many times, the way you do movement is your way, and it is so unique. You have been entrusted with that particular way. Anyhow, I was, with all that, thank you, Kim. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Kim. She's the one who sent the text with the link, and I did get in.
Wonderful.
And so I was there for the sit, almost all of it, and of course for your talk. And I was just contemplating I got this beautiful quote this morning from Pema Chodron, very relevant, saying, "Nothing ever goes away until it has taught us what we need to know." And I thought about these impasses, you know, these impasses where you want something so much and you're barred, right? And I mean, the ones where we get what we want are like a no-brainer, but it's those times when we want something very much and we're barred. That is an entrustment. Somehow, in looking back at this experience after listening to your talk, I thought of that as an entrustment. And I thought that in some way, entrustment brings together responsibility and receptivity. So you want to be very responsible for things and move forward as you have decided and feel you are there for. But there's some level of surrender and throwing it out, like my text and just accepting that it is only through some grace, through the world, through people, through the world, through the miracles, that I will actually possibly respectfully be granted access to what is truly what I'm entrusted with. And there's a level of mystery about all of that and a level of unknowing, while at the same time, you really want to know what it is you're entrusted with so you can be responsible, like Aaron said, to people, to things, in the way that is really at the highest. So I see so many aspects. This is like a diamond today. Entrustment is shining at me from a lot of different angles. And looking through the lens of entrustment is what you've given me today. And I am really grateful, and I will walk with it and sit with it and go through my day until I see you again. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Afra. Thanks so much.